After a thorough study of the articles that we accumulated, we decided that our approach will be threefold. The first approach to eliminating the issue at hand would be to strengthen the communication between parents, students, and teachers. Through this process, students will be much more likely to gain confidence and skills that are needed to succeed. Another component that we wish to utilize is a program that was mentioned in the 2016 study conducted by Petriovska et al., which was a parenting program that focused on introducing and providing parents with different skills that they can teach their kids at home. These skills are not limited to academics, but can be applied in all areas. Using this program as a model, we decided to modify it into a teacher-oriented and student-centered one. The same concepts would apply, such as encouraging student independence in all areas, but would exclusively occur within the classroom environment. This is why the third approach we decided to take is to implement a student gradual release model in the classroom. As you can see from the images, a linear progression is the fundamental goal, beginning from whole class instruction to group work, then partner work, and finally to independent work. The intervention is focused on a steady release of responsibilities. We plan to collect 5 different sources of data. Beginning with parent interviews, the goal is to use this source of data to determine how much support each student receives at home. The parent checklist, on the other hand, will be used to report observed behaviors at home related to independent study skills, such as completing projects or studying at home without having to rely on a parent or guardian. The student survey will allow for students to partake in self-assessment, but more importantly, for the teacher to gauge student comprehension of what the term independence really means to each and every student. Student work samples will be used as another data point to track their progress through the intervention. It can also be used as a determinant of success of the intervention itself. Teacher observations will be used to gather in-class data about the students' changing habits before, during, and after the intervention. To ensure ethical collection of data, both students and parents will be provided with a waiver form outlining the details of what the study entails. However, the purpose of the study will not be disclosed in order to maintain integrity of the research. Confidentiality can be upheld in the case that the research is to be published or presented, as each student participant parent dyad will be given a letter of designation. For example, Jane Doe and her father John Doe will be assigned the letter A and will be referred to as such throughout the study. All student work samples, interviews, and parent surveys collected will be placed in a private password-protected folder that only the teacher will have access to. Further ethical considerations are given to the teacher-student relationship. The teacher must be aware of the imbalance between him or her and the student. Therefore, by adopting the role of researcher, the teacher will aim to limit the power dynamics and maintain his or her professional title of teacher. Student surveys will be given and analyzed in order to set a baseline for student knowledge about what independent work is and reflect on their own independent skills. Student work samples and progression of grades can track changes brought about by the intervention. Teacher observation notes will outline student behaviors and attitudes that can reflect inclinations towards independent thinking and actions, especially in the different settings of group work, pair work, and independent work. Parent checklists will substantiate the information gathered during the parent interview about how much support a child receives at home. Our entire research process, including the baseline observations and collection of all sources of data, will take place over the course of at least 8 months, from September to April. Parent interviews will be collected 3 times in total, before, during, and after the intervention during the months of September, December, and March. Parent checklists will also be collected 3 times before, during, and after the intervention during the same months as the interviews, September, December, and March. Student work samples, however, will be collected a lot more frequently, and our aim is to collect 20 samples in total per student. 4 samples before the intervention from at least 3 different weeks in September, 12 samples during the intervention from at least 7 different weeks during the months of October to February, and 4 samples post-intervention from at least 3 different weeks in March to April. Student surveys will be given once prior to the introduction of the intervention in order to set a baseline for student perceptions of parental involvement. Finally, the daily observations will be made by the teacher with observational notes to accompany. But weekly field notes will also be collected from September to April, each week focusing on a different set of students engaged in group work, pair work, and ultimately independent work to track subjective progress. The following slides contain our annotated bibliography. Please feel free to pause the video and read individual annotations. Thank you so much for watching.